Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We're almost there, inshallah. We're going to be starting in a couple of minutes. Let's get the popcorn ready, hot chocolate, and halal marshmallows. Yum, yum, right? Get your pillows, get your blankets, get friends, I guess, in the room, your brothers and sisters, your parents. Get it. All right. So, I guess we could chat this time. So, I do have some stories to tell. Let's see if we can chat. Bismillah. Good. Excited about this. All right, so it's 8 o'clock. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you for joining us. This is Faraz Khan, ISCJ-TV Live. We're actually going over story time. Woo! Right, so who's excited? Raise your hand. Let's just say takbir. Allahu Akbar. So we're all excited. Alhamdulillah, we're here connecting through live channel chats and here to really get together in virtual reality, inshallah. But I have about 3, maybe time permitting, 4 stories, okay? So I'm gonna get started. Are you ready? Yes, thumbs up, right? You can put the thumbs up on the channel and we know you're ready for this. So I'm gonna get started. This is the first story first. And how would I call it? So this story is very important because it's about a student of knowledge. How many people here, NUI connection, Nurul Iman School? Yes, a few, mashallah, welcome. And how many homeschooling students here? Everybody now, right? But public school, yeah, very nice. So this is a student. This is some, every story starts kind of like long time ago. There was something, and there's always a problem, right? But anyways, long time ago, there used to be a student, and this student was very smart student. He was very sharp, very gifted, very cunning, and he used to have 2 things. He used to do it. Every day he would go to school, and he would go to school for about 6 months, right? Where he would see his shaykh, satellite dishes and how they function. Maybe not that one. Okay. But, this was kind of a long time ago. So, how to ride a donkey, all these other good things. There's always a donkey somewhere in my stories. But all these other beautiful things that you would, learn how to do. So he was learning how to do all of these, and he was also grown enough. Remember, he would go there for 6 months, and then the other 6 months, he would actually go to work, and he would do work, and he would earn a living. And this way he was able to help out his parents, or that boy would attend the school for 6 months. And on the way to his school, there was actually, because it was kind of distant land, and he would walk, right? He would walk there, and it was about a few miles long. So every day he would go across this jungle, this forest area. And this forest area, he would always observe like beautiful things, like beautiful trees, really nice like animals and critters and like little things crawling on the ground, butterflies in the air, and birds, right, with all their songs. Do you know you could actually tell which type of bird it is, mostly by listening to their vocalizations, most of their songs. So because a lot of times in the bushes and forested area, you can't see the birds, right? So if you memorize their songs, like there is a bird called mockingbird, and mockingbird is cool because what it does, it mimics the sounds of other birds. and he just keeps doing it. He mimics like hawk, and sometimes talks like nah, nah, nah. You probably heard that one, right? Yeah, I used to be a hawk when I was little. We would do hawk sounds, and it would actually do like what do you call it would do warbler songs. It would do chickadee, like chickadee dee 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 dee. I don't know if you've heard that song, but all these songs are there in birds. If you listen to them, inshallah, I'll do a class on bird songs. This is what I do for environmental work, wetlands, bird songs, and things like that. But anyways, we got away from the story. That boy or that young man would walk, and he would go through the jungle, and he would find all these beautiful songs of these birds, and he would just like be mesmerized by it. And then he would get to his sheikh, and where he would learn Quran, Hadith, ulum al-dunya wa ulum al-deen, right? All these knowledges that he could obtain from his sheikh. And so he would sit there, and then he would go back. One time, he was walking. There's always this special time, right? So because we want to have a story, otherwise, like boring everyday same thing. One specific time, he was going there, and then as he was observing some of the birds in the trees and on the ground, right? There are actually robins, right? Red-crested orange. They actually walk on the ground, and that's how they hunt, like worms and things like that. So there are birds who actually walk on the ground too. So there were birds. He saw one particular bird that was on the ground, and it wasn't really moving. So he started paying attention to that bird because it was kind of like odd. So then he was like, "What's going on, over there?" And he started looking, and he's like, "This bird is not moving. Maybe it's dead." But then he got closer. He saw the bird was actually moving, but for some reason the bird had wings that were broken, unfortunately, and it couldn't fly. So it was on the ground for a long time, and it couldn't move around. So then he was like, this bird can't go anywhere. Oh my God. And then he noticed suddenly that, what is the story? Who's Talha Khan's there? All right. So this is a student bird. I'll have to give the story name to one of our brothers, Talha Khan. Bird and the boy. So this is Bird and the boy. That's the story. So this young man or this boy who was there, he saw the bird, and he noticed it had broken wings, and then he kept looking at it, and then he noticed that the bird couldn't find its way, and it kept like messing up. It didn't know where to go, and he realized that the bird was also blind. So not only bird had broken wings, it was also blind. And on top of that, somehow it got hurt and it was bleeding. So he could notice that there was something wrong. Some accident had happened. So as he was observing, he said to himself, here's a big part, okay, so pay attention. So he said to himself, oh my God, how will this bird survive in this jungle? Right? Broken wings, blind, bleeding, bird, all bees, broken wing, blind, what did I say? Bleeding, bird, right? So that's the condition of the bird. So he said, how could this bird survive? How could it live, right? And so he was thinking about that question in his head. All of a sudden, all right, this thing happened. All right, this is the part where I have to do this. Wake up, right? Wake up. All of a sudden, from nowhere comes Superman. No, this is not Superman. Okay, all right, hold on. All of a sudden, from nowhere comes another bird, and it just kind of hovers over, like it flies over, and then it lands right next to that bird that had broken wings, bleeding, blind bird. I was there on the ground, and it took the food, searched for the food, found the food, and then it came to feed the other bird. And as it fed the other one, that bird flew away. And the boy said, oh my God, wow, I can't believe this. It's gotta be a miracle that this bird is being fed by another bird. And so he was just like, wow, this is awesome. This is like the less, like, I've never seen something so cool. Like a bird comes in to help another bird. So he saw that, and then the boy, he went to school, to the sheikh, and he told the story to the sheikh. If you were joining us, we're talking about Bird and the Boy, and the lesson that we learned from this story. It's a very cool story. It's a story that actually comes from Egypt. Okay, and this was told by one of the very famous sheikh in Egypt, really. And one of the funny things, is like a side note, the funny thing was, I told the same story, and Sheikh Omar Suleiman was in the audience. And then he was like, you know where this story comes from? And then we talked about it. And although he's from Palestine, he knows a lot of the mashayikh from Egypt, from Masr. So there's a connection there with all of us, inshallah. So anyway, so the sheikh was like sitting there, and the boy comes back. He tells him the story that he saw a blind, broken wing, bleeding bird on the ground, and he was wondering how it's going to survive. And then another bird comes in and it feeds that bird, and he's like so amazed by that. In fact, he said he learned a lesson. And the lesson is, the boy said, you know what? Tomorrow is my first day to go back to work. Sheikh, I come and stay and learn with you for 6 months, and the next 6 months I go to work. I realized I have to rely on Allah. So I want to quit my job, and I'm going to go and sit with you, not just 6 months, but I'm going to sit with you the whole year. Okay, I want to stay with you, Sheikh, and I want to learn from you, and it's going to be beautiful, and it's awesome. So the Sheikh heard the story, and he says, he was like, you saw the story, you saw the birds, manifest, or you saw the birds do the thing by the permission of God in front of you, and you saw it all. But my son, here's a big part, okay? So pay attention if you're doing something else. Your own eyes, but you got the wrong lesson, okay? So pay attention. So the sheikh goes, you got the wrong lesson. And the child or the student's like, huh? Why did I get the wrong lesson? And the sheikh says, look, my son, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to teach you that you should learn from this story something very special. Don't be the bird that was on the ground with broken wings, blinded, bleeding, looking for help. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, big part, pay attention, hello. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted you to learn and to be like that bird that was hovering around, and it came down and it helped the other bird. That's how you should live your life. Earn your wealth, earn your money, do business, but make sure that you share it with other people. Make sure that you are the generous one. You are the one who's giving. You are the one who's searching, finding, working, and then helping others as well. Is that a good story? We're gonna wait for thumbs up, inshallah. So that was Bird and the Boy. That's a story. Very beautiful story. I always teach my children, or tell my children, they love that story too. We call them the 4 B's: the broken wing, blinded, bleeding bird. Right? That's how we remember that story. It's a fascinating story. It's a story that we could learn plenty of things. There are 2 sides to every event or things happen. People are looking at this whole thing as like, astaghfirullah, I'm stuck inside, right? And there are other people who are like, hey, there's more time for me to get my work done, take care of my family, and also, get some Quran recitation or the tahajjud prayer or fasting or whatever, however you want to do things your way. But there's always opportunity, and that's what makes us people of faith, people of trust in Allah. So that was the first story. I kind of elongated it, but now we're gonna get to the second story. Are you guys ready? Make some noise. That's from Morocco. It's original. That just came from Morocco. Okay, so it's a beautiful thing. I don't know what to do with it, so I found a use for it. So alhamdulillah. Story time. I want to thank you all for listening. We're not done yet. I also want to recognize our brothers and sisters who are at the front line, our policemen, our EMT folks, firefighters, and of course, healthcare workers who are doing a marvelous job. Our teachers, all of them, we have to support them in the best way we could. The least we could do is make dua for them, and also recognize the great work that they're doing, inshallah. So our heart and our du'as and prayers go to these folks who are doing an amazing job all over the world, and we recognize their good work, mashallah. The other thing I want to say is we also want to recognize our folks at ISCJ, the Shura, the board, the president, the imam, the teachers, the Mashaikh, Nurul Iman School, the teachers. I want to tell you, actually, this is 20 years. If you go to Nurul Iman, or if you know somebody from Nurul Iman, I want to mention this. 20 years ago, I used to be a teacher. Look what they did to me. Right? 20 years ago, I was a young man coming out of college, and I went to Nurul Iman to teach. I actually taught there for 4 years. And those were the best days of my life, as they say. Those were the best days of my life. One of the things that we did, and many of you who are here, I see Ayman and Talha and other Sayyid Ahsan, Arif Khan, mashallah. Welcome. Umayma Mansour, I remember, mashallah. 20 years ago, okay, this is serious stuff. We won the first under 13 and under 16 Nurul Iman School soccer championship at Sadiq Lar Jame in Howell Township. All right, about 20 years ago. And the cool thing, actually, it was funny thing too, because we won final for under 13 and we won final for under 16. We had coaches such as Yassine and Kareem, the two sons of brother Abdul Aziz. And, I was one of the coaches. And one of the cool thing, Ibrahim Mansour was there too. He was a soccer player. He used to have the banana kicks. But real quick, I want to give you that story. So what happened was we were at the final, and it was like the game was tied. I think it was like 2-2, and they needed to know. We scored, they scored, we scored again, they scored again, till like they missed the goal, and so we had the chance. And the tallest kid on our team, okay, this, I don't know if you know Ala Ahmed. He feet, something like amazing, like height, mashallah. He went to college and he was like 7'1". So many of you may know Ala, and he was like an amazing student, mashallah. I can't say enough about him. But he was there, and he was gonna go and kick. He was 16, it was like 16 and under. So he was 16 years old, and he was 6 feet 7 inches. And he goes there on the field to kick the soccer, right? The goal. And I remember this. This lady comes out of nowhere from the opposite. It was like the mothers from like the opposite team, opposing team, not opposite team, opposing team. She comes out charging on the field, and she stands between Ala. She comes charging in there. Nurul Iman School, the families, there's like 100 of us, and we're all like, what's gonna happen next? This lady is just going bonkers, she's like, and she did not speak English. That's how it was. She did not speak English. She comes charging, go, blah, 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 blah. And then we're all like, what is happening here on the field? It was just like amazing. I was like, I don't get paid to like control the fans here. I'm just a coach. I can't, I'm not dealing with this, especially this lady who just came out like out of nowhere charging. And the kids are like, what's wrong with her? And apparently, translation, all that came through. And then she was basically saying that how could this guy be on a soccer team for under 16 and he looks like he's 46 or something like that? So, you know, he was 6'7". That was it. He was 16. What can I say? The kid grew up to be 7 feet 1 inches. He went to play NJIT basketball. You know, what can you say about that? So anyways, she had issues with that. And, you know, we kind of explained it to her and the other coach and the other team. Anyways, finally, the thing settled down. However, Allah's mom decided that he should not be the one kicking because, you know, he's under pressure now because all this lady's just like making a mess out of it. So she did not want him to be that person who's kicking because we would have won probably anyways. So then Sami Nazif, he's the youngest son of Sister Janet Nazif, the principal. He goes in, super confident kid, could never do anything wrong. He just keeps smiling, and he just so he goes in, kicks the goal, and then he just goes, you know, around the soccer field, and everything's going crazy, and it was like the fun time, mashallah. So the moral of this story, anyways, we got the 2 trophies. No, I 2001, so it's like 2020 now, so it's almost 20 years. So they were there. Anyways, the reason why I remember that story because I was telling my children what happened, and I was like, whether you lose or you win, compose yourself. Don't go out in the field and make, you know, make a case for yourself. Like, you know, you're not helping your case by doing that, inshallah. Be patient, that's all. Number 2, are you ready for this one? Next one. All right, this one, I feel like I'm selling something like shoes in Morocco. Don't you do that? All right, no, your popcorn is ready. All right, let's go. All right, so next one, I'm ready for this one. This is called, I gotta give you the story name. Story Farmer and the Gardener. All right, so this is a story about a farmer and gardener. You know, farmer is the one who farms. Gardener usually is the one who, you know, does the landscape stuff, flowers, trees, sells individual trees and plants, 1, 2, 5, right? Farmer is the one that produces food for people, fruits, vegetables, and all these good things, meat, dairy products sometimes, right? So long time ago, there's always long time ago, right? That's how stories start. Anyways, long time ago, there was a farmer, and he used to have an orchard garden of apples, and his apples were the most delicious, beautiful red apples that you could have ever tasted. It was kind of like the apple you grab, and even if it's like a foot away from your mouth, it would just like, you would feel like it just landed in your mouth and melted like hot butter, marshmallow, something, I don't know, something like that. It was like really beautiful, delicious stuff. That wasn't good. Maybe ice cream, melted like ice cream. So anyways, those apples were red delicious, and he had a friend, the gardener, and so he would bring some of these fruits or apples to his friend, and he would drop them off. The gardener would be really appreciative of it. He would thank him for that, and he would enjoy them. One year, when the time came, the gardener said, "Why don't you let me get a tree? Why don't you, give me a tree so I could plant it? And so next year and the year after that, you don't have to come and give me all these, apples every year. I could just eat the apples off those trees. I could pluck them and I could have them in my backyard and my garden." So the farmer said, "Sure, you could have those, you could have one of the trees." So he brought in a big giant tree, burlap, right? Wrapped it up, and then he brought it in, and he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll leave it to you as to wherever you want to plant this tree." So the farmer left those apples that he used to have from those trees, he left that tree for the gardener. And so the gardener was like, "Yes, I got the big tree now. I could do what I want. I don't have to wait for this guy to bring me delicious apples." So he was like, So where should I plant this tree? So he goes, first, he's going to start digging in the front lawn. We don't have background music, sorry. We're low on budget. We have to do with what we got. All right, so enough digging. So then he goes, wait a minute. If I plant this in the front lawn, in the front, passerbys will come and guess what's going to happen to my tree? They're going to eat the apples. No. No. All right, so then he goes, where can I plant the tree? Where can I... Oh, backyard. So you go... So he's thinking, if I plant it in the backyard, how am I going to know? My kids will probably jump on this tree, destroy it, eat the apples before I could put my hands on the barnyard, right? So he goes to the, like a barnyard is basically like your garage, right? So he goes to the garage and then on the side, not on the driveway, right? Not on the road. So he goes, oh, I got it. And he's like digging the hole and then he's like, wait a minute. If I plant it here, no, it's not gonna work because people will see it, and you know what? There's deer infestation in New Jersey, and these deer are gonna come and eat the apples. So he goes and he plants it all the way on the hilltop so he could watch the tree from his window. He was like, I got it. So he plants it there, and every morning he will stand. He's like, yeah, is apple? No, not yet. Okay. He would just wait for the apples. And then as he was doing that, the whole year passed by, no apples. Not a problem first year. So we're talking about the gardener, the farmer and the gardener, the red delicious apple. The farmer gives it, he used to bring all these red delicious apples. Now that the farmer gave him, the gardener said, why don't you give me a tree? He got the tree. The gardener is planting in different places or thinking about it. He doesn't like it because other people will get the fruit. The deer may eat it. So then he plants it on the hilltop where he could see it from his window, bedroom window, and he could say, you know what? We got it. That's the best place. And so first year, no fruits. No problem. Second year, no fruits. Third year, no fruits. After third year, he's like, he goes, guess where? I want my money back. I don't like this deal. This person gave me a bad apple or a bad apple tree. So he goes to the farmer and he goes, what did you give me? You gave me the bad tree. I can't believe this. How could you do this to your friend? You're a Muslim brother, right? Don't you hear that? How could you do this to your Muslim brother or sister? And so the farmer was like, huh? What's wrong with you? I gave you the whole tree. Before I used to give you little apples. Now I gave you the tree. He goes, well, this tree doesn't bear any fruit. It doesn't give me any red delicious apples that we used to have. And so the farmer goes, well, where did you plant it? Did you water it? Did you give it sun? Did you give it light? He goes, yeah, I planted on the hilltop, and did I give? He's like, well, I tried to put it in the backyard or front lawn, but other people are gonna eat my tree or my fruits, so I didn't want to plant it there. I tried to plant it in the backyard, but my kids were gonna eat the apples, so I didn't want to do that and have my kids take all my apples. And then I went to place it by the barnyard, but the deer could eat the apples or tree and leaves, and I wouldn't have anything. So I planted on the hilltop, so where I could see the tree. And so the farmer goes, you planted the tree facing all the wind, no water downhill. You don't water it, and you planted it. The big part, just to wake you up. Heart thinking not what I could give off that tree, all these apples, but you planted it thinking, oh, so and so's gonna take my fruits, so and so's gonna eat my fruits, so and so is gonna enjoy and all that stuff. And you had a jealous heart. So no wonder when you plant it like this, that's your tree. And that's the blessing of having a bad intention. Okay? That tree is not giving you any fruit. Case in point, lesson learned. Moral of the story, right? So the tree didn't give any fruit. And basically the farmer and the gardener, the story is basically the person who was giving, the farmer, he was bringing in red delicious apples, and he was given by Allah. He was blessed. His fruits, his produce was blessed because he was always giving. He was generous. And the person who was withholding or was afraid others will take, others will eat, others will not, will not let him enjoy his tree. He had such a jealous heart or such a stingy personality that that tree never bore any, never gave any fruit or apples. So that's the bottom line is, when we plant something, we plant with the blessings of Allah, right? Remembering Him, obviously, recognizing it's His favor that He gives us. It's nothing that you and I have done to really, to really have this given to us. It's really all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'm going to share with you a quick one for the adults who understand, I think, obviously. Once upon a time, this happened to me when I was at work. This was a time when people used to get their paychecks in their hand, right? Some 15, 20 years ago. And you, like, literally, you would get a paycheck and you would open it up and you'd be like, oh, okay, I got, you expect, whatever the amount of money it is. And so, believe it or not, it was like a personal item. Like, a thought was a thought in my mind. Everything revolves around this check, right? I could buy things. I could pay my rent. I could afford things. I could enjoy things. I could do things because this check comes in. And the moment that I was thinking that, I had to snap you out of it. The moment I was thinking that, another thought hit me. No, it's Allah. It's Allah that provides. It's not the check, right? That's the test. We have to put our trust in Allah. We do our best. That's tawakkul, right? We do our best. We do our things, but it's really, we rely on Allah. We need Allah. We don't need a check or dollar bill that comes in. But again, Allah is the one who does these things for us. He gives us and He forgives us. So those are the two stories. Birds with broken wings, the first one. Farmer and the gardener. If you give me, I have 5 thumbs up. If I get to 10, maybe I'll do another story. Let's see if I can get more thumbs up. How many people are listening? 6. I'm gonna hold you hostage till I get 10. No, I need thumbs up on the top of this thing. So I have 25 people. 7. No, it's not moving. I think I'm gonna close my shop. I need more thumbs up. Sorry, brother Arif Khan, I appreciate it. I have to hold you hostage. It's like fundraising dinner. No dinner unless we do fundraise. No, I'm not gonna use those jokes. Those are lame jokes. Astaghfirullah. Did I say fundraising dinner? How could I do that? Astaghfirullah. Well, Ramadan's coming, so. So, Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. All right, so I'm gonna continue. This is about thank you much. That's the one that one of the Jumu'ahs, I think I mentioned this one too. I heard this story from one of the rabbis, I think online. And get to the story. Thank you. So the story is about a student. He goes to a function, a party, a fundraising dinner. How about that? He goes to a place, it's like one of those gatherings, and he finds his old teacher. And this old teacher at this point, he could hardly recognize him because he had lost his hair, kind of gone gray, needed glasses to know where he was. The beard was kind of like out of shape. Anyways, so all those things. So the young man, he recognizes teacher. He goes, "Oh, sheikh or teacher, do you recognize me? I'm so and so. You taught me at third grade or second grade or something like that." And he goes, "Do you recognize me? It was 10, 50, 20 years ago or something like that." And the teacher was like, "Oh, my son, welcome, welcome. How are you doing?" He's like, "Do you remember me?" He's like, I apologize, but I don't remember you." So the student was like, "Oh, I'm sure you remember me. Come on, don't you remember me? It's me. It's one of those things like me." Prophet Muhammad, actually, it reminds me, people would come to his house and knock on his door, and he'd be like, "Who is it?" Right? And Ana means me. It's me. And he would just like reciprocate that. He would reply back to it as well. Well, Ana, like I am also me. Like, what's your name? I am also me, right? Just saying me isn't cut the. So anyway, so the story goes, the teacher was asking, oh, did I put the name of the story? Oh no, so I gotta put the third story. I gotta put the name down because people. Third story. Golden Watch. Okay, that's his story. If you're having a good time, mashallah, Allahu Akbar. I'm taking my time away from my family, but I do want to appreciate my wife, Seher Jilani. She is not watching me. No, she's not paying attention. I want to recognize, maybe she's watching downstairs. And my kids, Yad, Zain, Aliza, and Amir, for being an amazing family. And alhamdulillah, it's great to be. So the teacher said, I don't know, son. So these are two individuals who met each other, and they were like, long time ago you taught me, and the students there. And he says, do you remember? The teacher goes, I apologize, my son, I don't. So then he goes, okay, I know one thing that happened. You would remember it, and definitely you will recognize me after that. And so the teacher goes, sure, well, remind me. And so he goes, I'm sure you remember when it happened that one day I was a student and I became a student. Ah, there comes the police. Oh my God. All right, my son doesn't have a shirt, so you don't have to watch him. It's comedy at the same time, so I'm gonna try to cover up the screen. All right, hold on a second. You're gonna call him? Okay. All right. You didn't see anything. All right, he's gone. MashaAllah. We try to keep it light here. My wife and I, we're gonna have a talk after this. So alhamdulillah. Yeah, where was So almost there, almost done, kiddos. So the teacher was like, well, I don't recognize. A friend of mine had this golden watch, and I really liked it, and so I stole it from him. I took the watch and I put it in my pocket, and I was going to take it home. I was just little naive, I was young. I didn't realize that I wasn't supposed to do these things, but you preserved my dignity. You did not tell anyone. So the teacher goes, no, I don't recognize. He's like, okay, I'm going to tell you the details. So the student is reminding the sheikh or the teacher his story. So he goes, Jazakallah khair, Habibai. Thanks. Bring him back. That was awesome. Yeah, that was like the trailer. Like, when you have like the episode where you take a break, and then you have the clowns come in and entertain you. That was like one of those moments. But anyways, so the student goes, I was young, second, third grade, and the boy had the watch, and I stole the watch, and I didn't want to tell anybody. And you actually said to all of us on that day, line up, boys or girls, boys and girls, line up, everyone, and I'm gonna check all of your pockets to make sure that I find this boy's watch. And it was a very expensive watch, and the boy was crying, and so I felt bad in my heart that why did I take it? But that day you lined all of us, and then that time I realized what I had done. It was so wrong, but I didn't have the guts to tell in front of everyone that I took the watch. So I remained quiet. So and then you, the teacher, you came and then you said, everybody line up, everybody, I'm going to check your pockets, and I want all of you to close your eyes. This way, the teacher will find out who stole the watch, and they take it out of that person's pocket. So then, teacher, so this guy's talking, he says, you came to me and you went to all of the students and you found the watch in my pocket. You took it out, but you didn't say a word, and you kept checking each and every one, just like you would do it for the rest, all of the students. And then after that, you did it so amazingly that I wouldn't get caught because I was the one who stole the watch. That you went and you asked everybody to open their eyes at the same time. And then you said, I found the watch, here it is, and you gave it back to the boy that the watch belonged to. So this time, and you never even said a word that I was the person. And I felt so bad that now everybody's gonna find out who was the thief, who was this low, bad boy, and I'm gonna have a reputation that I probably would have to leave the school because everybody's gonna put me to shame for stealing a watch. And he says, teacher, you saved my dignity that day. Teacher, you saved my life. You saved my fate because you never told anybody that even though you found the watch in my pocket, you never told anybody about what I had done. In fact, if you remember, you never even spoke to me about that, how I had stolen the watch or why I stole the watch or anything like that, because you didn't want me to feel bad about it, I guess. So he said, don't you remember, teacher? And the teacher, so they're at he's like, son, I still don't remember. All right, hold on. I think the connection was bad, so I'm just going to give it a second. So I'm just going to go back a little bit. So so the student says that, don't you remember that story where I stole the golden watch and you had done this and you never told anyone? Don't you remember that? And the teacher's thinking, like, son, and he goes, I don't remember that story at all. And he goes, I don't remember you, son, unfortunately. And so the student was like, really? You did it? You don't remember me? You don't remember seeing me? So the teacher goes, the moment, my son, I said to all the students, close your eyes, I picked the watch out of. And so your dignity was saved, and Allah was the one, obviously, who protects the dignity of the people. But the lesson learned in that story, basically, inshallah, as I remember, it was a beautiful story that the teacher held himself to a higher standard, just like how he told the students, do this, but he was also the person who applied that teaching, that nobody else finds out who this boy is or this girl is who stole the watch. In fact, he internalized his own teaching so much that he shut his eyes, he closed his eyes, so he doesn't even know who this person was. And so we learn from that, not just preaching, but also practicing what you preach. I think that's one of the bigger things. I wanted to share this story through these three stories: the birds with broken wings, farmer and the gardener, golden watch. Inshallah, love to see you all. We're all missing each other. I know. I see some of the amazing people and personalities from our masjid. May Allah bless you. May Allah bless your families. If I could be of any service, inshallah, give Brother Arif Patel a call. if I could be of any service, I'm here, inshallah. Arif is an amazing person. We appreciate, along with Sharif and Alaima and Hiba, and some of the amazing programs. I would encourage you to go back and watch the one on diet, um, the one on fitness, the one on mental health. Amazing people. So Jazakumullah khair. Thank you so much. And here at this point, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Leave comments, send comments, inshallah. Thank you for connecting with you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair.